Welcome to the Daily English Learning Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Daily English Learning Podcast. I'm Olivia, and I'm super excited to dive into today's topic.
And I'm Martin. Today, we're talking about a grammar tense that might seem a bit tricky at first, but is actually super useful once you get the hang of it.
You guessed it, we're exploring the past perfect simple tense.
Right. It's one of those tenses that helps you talk about actions that happened before another past event. It's like a timeline of events, and we need to know which one happened first.
Exactly, and today we're going to break it down together, starting with the core concept and then moving on to some fun examples, common mistakes, and even a quick quiz to test your knowledge.
So if you've ever been confused about when to use had done instead of did, you're in the right place.
Let's get started. All right, let's start with the basics. What is the past perfect simple tense?
It's a verb tense we use to talk about an action that was completed before another past action. The structure is had plus past participle.
Let me give you a simple example. She had eaten dinner before she watched TV.
Right, so had eaten is the past perfect and watched is the simple past. The eating happened first and then the watching happened.
It's like a timeline. The past perfect shows which action happened first.
Good point. Another example. We had left the house before the rain started. The leaving happened before the rain began.
Exactly. And sometimes the second action is clear from context, so you might not need to say it.
Like, he had forgotten his password. You don't need to say before he logged in, but the context makes it clear.
That's a great example. Let's try one more. They had finished the project before the deadline.
Nice. The finishing was completed before the deadline passed.
Exactly. So the past perfect helps you clarify the order of events in the past.
And it's especially useful when you're telling a story or explaining a sequence of events.
You'll see it pop up a lot in stories, news articles, and even in everyday conversations.
For instance, I had never seen a snowstorm before I moved to Canada.
There you go. The action of never seeing a snowstorm happened before moving to Canada.
Perfect. So the past perfect helps you show which action came first, even if you don't mention the second one.
That's the key. It's all about the sequence of events in the past.
I think it's a great tool for storytelling. It helps you set the scene and explain what happened when.
Definitely. Let's keep exploring this in the next section. We'll dive deeper into when and how to use it, and some common exceptions.
And maybe we'll even do a little role play to see it in action.
Sounds like a plan. Let's move on to the deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered the basic structure of the past perfect simple had plus past participle. But when exactly do we use it?
Well, the main reason is to show that one action in the past happened before another past action. It's all about the sequence of events.
For example, she had already left before I arrived. So the leaving happened before the arrival.
That's right. Another example. The movie had started before I reached the cinema.
Nice! So the movie started first, and then the person arrived.
Exactly. But there are some exceptions and nuances you should be aware of.
Like when you don't actually mention the second action.
Right. For instance, he had studied all night. You don't need to say before the exam, but it's implied.
Because the context gives you the clue. So the study happened before the exam.
Exactly. Let's look at another example. They had never met before today.
Oh, the meeting happened before the day mentioned in the sentence?
Perfect. Now, sometimes the second action is in the past continuous tense.
Like, he had written the email while she was reading it.
That's a great example. The writing happened before the reading.
But wait, does the past perfect always need to be used in the first clause?
Not necessarily. Sometimes the second action is in the past perfect. For example, by the time she arrived, the train had already left.
Oh, so the train leaving was before her arrival.
Exactly. And the past perfect is used for the earlier action.
Let me try one. Before we went to the party, we had cleaned the house.
Nice, the cleaning happened before the party.
Yeah, so the key is to figure out which action came first and use the past perfect for that one.
And that's a common confusion point. Sometimes learners mix up the order of the tenses.
For example, someone might say, I had gone to the store before I saw her.
Right, that's correct. But if someone said, I went to the store before I had seen her, that would be wrong.
Exactly. The past perfect has to be the earlier action.
So in the example, I had gone to the store before I saw her. The had gone is the past perfect and the earlier action.
Good. Let me think of another one. When I arrived, the meeting had already finished.
Perfect. The meeting finished before the person arrived.
And if the meeting had just finished, you could say, the meeting had just finished when I arrived.
Right? The past perfect gives you a way to talk about an action that was completed before another past event.
So it's not just about past actions, but about showing which action came first.
Exactly. And this is especially important in storytelling or when explaining a sequence of events.
It helps the listener or reader understand the timeline clearly.
Definitely. Now, let's move on to some real world scenarios. We'll act out a few situations where the past perfect is used.
I can't wait. Let's go.
All right, let's get into some real life situations where the past perfect simple is used. I'll act as Olivia and Martin. You can act as a customer at a restaurant.
Got it. So let's start. Net nart nits.
Hi, welcome to our restaurant. How can I help you today?
Hi. I'd like to order a steak and a salad.
Great choice. Do you want the steak cooked rare, medium, or well done?
Medium, please.
All right, and for the salad, would you like it with dressing or not?
With dressing. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll put your order in. One moment, please.
Thank you, by the way. The menu had changed since I last visited.
Oh, yes, we had updated our menu to include some new dishes.
Oh, that's great. I had heard about the new options from a friend.
Nice. I hope you enjoy the new menu.
I'm sure I will.
Okay, let's try another situation. I'll be Olivia, and you, Martin, can be a job interviewer.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Can you tell me a bit about your previous work experience?
Of course, I had worked as a project manager for 3 years before I left my last job.
That's great. What kind of projects did you manage?
I had managed a range of projects, from small local events to large international campaigns.
Sounds like a lot of experience. What made you leave your previous job?
I had wanted to focus on a new area of marketing, and I thought this role would be a perfect fit.
That's a solid reason. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for the interview.
Okay, let's try one more scenario. I'll be Olivia, and you, Martin, can be a friend sending a text.
All right.
Hi, Martin. Did you see the movie last night?
Oh, I had planned to see it, but I got stuck in traffic and missed it.
Oh no. Did you get home okay?
Yes. I had left the office late, so it took me a while.
I understand. Maybe you can catch it another time.
Yeah, I had hoped to see it on the weekend.
Well, I hope you enjoy it when you finally get to watch it.
Nice. So in each of these scenarios, we use the past perfect to talk about actions that happened before another past event.
Exactly. Whether it was a menu change, a job interview, or a missed movie, the past perfect helped clarify the timeline.
And it made the conversations more natural and clear.
Definitely. Now, let's move on to the next section, where we'll look at some common mistakes learners make with the past perfect.
I'm ready. Let's see what we can learn from common errors.
So, now that we've seen some real-life examples of the past perfect simple, let's take a look at some common mistakes learners make when using it.
Yeah, it's easy to mix up the tenses or use the wrong structure. Let's start with the first common mistake.
One common error is using the past simple instead of the past perfect. For example, I saw the movie before it was shown in the theater.
Right. The correct version would be, I had seen the movie before it was shown in the theater.
Exactly, the past perfect is necessary to show that the action of seeing the movie happened before it was shown in the theater.
Another mistake is using the past perfect when the action didn't actually happen before another past event.
For example, I had called her yesterday.
That's not correct because there's no second action in the past to compare it to. The correct sentence would be, I called her yesterday.
Right. The past perfect is only needed when you need to show that one action happened before another.
Another common mistake is using the past perfect with an action that is still ongoing in the past.
For instance, she had been working for 3 hours when I arrived.
But the correct version would be, she had worked for 3 hours when I arrived.
Yes, because the action is completed before the arrival.
And sometimes learners confuse the past perfect with the past continuous.
Like they had been playing football when it started raining.
That's actually correct. The past perfect continuous is used here to show an ongoing action that was interrupted.
Right? So it's important to remember that the past perfect continuous is used for actions that were ongoing in the past and were interrupted by another action.
Another mistake is using the past perfect when the second action is in the future.
For example, I had studied for the exam before I will take it.
That's not correct. The correct version would be, I had studied for the exam before I take it.
Or even better, I had studied for the exam before the day I take it.
It's important to match the tense of the second action.
Exactly. The second action can be in the past, present, or future, but it has to match the context.
And one last mistake is using the past perfect when there's no clear sequence of events.
For example, I had been tired all week.
The correct version would be, I had been tired all week before I decided to take a break.
Right. The past perfect needs a second action to show the sequence.
So it's important to always check if the action you're using the past perfect for actually happened before another past event.
And that's the key to using the past perfect correctly.
It's all about the sequence of events in the past.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to the next section, where we'll do a quick quiz to test your knowledge.
I'm ready to be quizzed. Let's see what I remember.
All right, Martin. Let's put your knowledge to the test with a quick quiz. I'll ask you a question, and you'll have to answer using the past perfect simple.
Got it. Let's see what you've got in store.
First question, what did you do before you came to the podcast?
I had taken a quick coffee break before I came.
Nice, that's correct. You used the past perfect to show that the coffee break happened before arriving.
Thanks. Let's see another one.
Second question, when did you finish your homework before the class started?
I had finished my homework before the class started.
Perfect. You used the past perfect to indicate that the homework was completed before the class began.
I'm feeling confident. Let's go on.
Third question, what did you eat before you started working today?
I had eaten a quick breakfast before I started working.
Great job. That's exactly how the past perfect is used.
I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Fourth question, when did you decide to join the podcast before you recorded it?
I had decided to join the podcast before I recorded it.
Perfect. You showed the sequence of events clearly.
I'm starting to feel like a grammar pro.
Last question, what did you study before the exam?
I had studied for several hours before the exam.
Excellent. You've done really well.
Thanks, Olivia. I think I've learned a lot from this quiz.
And I'm sure our listeners have too.
Let's move on to the next section, where we'll share some practical tips for using the past perfect in your daily English.
I can't wait to give you some homework. All right, let's wrap up with some practical tips and a fun homework exercise to help you practice the past perfect simple.
First, remember that the past perfect is used to show an action that happened before another past action. The structure is had plus past participle.
So if you want to say that you had already left before someone arrived, you'll use the past perfect.
A great tip is to always ask yourself which action happened first. That's the one you need to use the past perfect for.
Let me give you an example. She had finished her homework before the teacher asked her.
Exactly. The homework was completed before the teacher asked, so the past perfect is the right choice.
Another tip is to practice using the past perfect in your daily conversations. Try to find situations where you can naturally use it.
For instance, if you're telling a story about your day, say something like, I had just left the house when it started to rain.
That's perfect. And remember, the past perfect can be used with both positive and negative sentences.
Like, he had not called me before the meeting.
Right. So don't forget to use had not for negative sentences.
Let's move on to the homework exercise. I want you to think of 3 sentences from your own life where you can use the past perfect.
For example, you could write, I had never seen a snowstorm before I moved to Canada.
Or maybe, I had already left the office when my friend called me.
Try to come up with 3 of your own. It's a great way to practice using the tense in real-life situations.
And don't forget to share your sentences with someone or write them down. The more you use it, the more natural it will feel.
If you're not sure, just try to explain the sequence of events in your sentences. That will help you figure out which action needs to be in the past perfect.
And remember, you can always come back to this episode for a refresher.
Definitely. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become with the past perfect.
So give it a try, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn.
All right, let's wrap this up with a friendly sign-off. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of the Daily English Learning Podcast.
I hope you feel more confident about using the past perfect simple now.
And don't forget to try out the homework exercise and share your sentences with someone.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends.
We're always here to help you improve your English skills.
Until next time, keep learning and keep practicing.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.